Hello, everybody. Welcome to a Wednesday edition of the Computer America Show. We got a schedule change. Intel is not going to be with us here tonight. I know, they'll be here with us next Thursday. I had to reschedule them, but that's okay. We have Josh Boykin from Popzara magazine. He's an editor-in-large. He was with us out at the Consumer Electronics Show
until showtime,
and we're going to be talking about all kinds of good stuff with Josh. And one of the things I mentioned was about overclocking your graphics card, and he knows all about that, so we'll be talking about that in more and more detail. And we'll talk about games, we'll talk about technology. It's going to be a fun show, so sit back, relax, enjoy the show. We'll be starting in about a minute and a half.
One minute until showtime.
All right. You got 60 seconds. It's going to be a fun show. 15 seconds.
Oh, by the way, Josh, I don't know if you heard about Elder Scrolls Online going free to play, but I also like to talk about that.
We'll go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live, it's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers, Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. Look for Craig's weekly column in your favorite newspaper. This show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome into the Computer America Show. It's the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. Computer America is heard around the world and coast to coast. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And, well, you know, it is a Wednesday edition of the Computer America Show, and Intel is not with us tonight. I know, don't worry, they're going to be here with us next week. It was a last-minute thing. You know, these things happen on live broadcast radio. And so that left us with no guest. so
there was never a time to panic. Tonight was the night.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, I started calling people. You know, oh, I can't do it tonight. Oh, I'm sick. You know, it's just like one thing another. But that's okay.
One of our correspondents, I think it was actually maybe Charles Sandell, said he had to wash his hair, so he couldn't be there.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't even have any hair. So
I know.
I know. So there it is. But don't fret. You know, you the listeners don't go through the angst that we go through here, bringing this show to you every night. So all you know is you tune in at 10 o'clock and everything is just honky dory. You know, and that's how we want it to look. You know. But we do have a very interesting guest. Actually, he was with us out at the Consumer Electronics Show, and when we were out there at the Showstoppers event at the Wynn Hotel, and our introduction to him was through Nathan Evans, who was the managing editor of Popzara magazine, and I think you'll enjoy his company tonight. If you have a comment or a question or suggestion about anything we're talking about tonight, we plan to cover a wide range of topics. Okay, you can call us at 347-884-8881. That's 347-884-8881. That'll get you on and get you through. Email is live, L-I-V-E, at computeramerica.com. Okay. You can also join us in our live interactive chat room. From our homepage at computeramerica.com, just click on the button there right in the middle of the, well, sort of the right side of the screen. It says chat live video. You'll see the chat room entry form. You just fill it in. You put in a username. That's the name to be known by. When you go in there, click the connect button, and your browser moves you into the chat room. And also sharing that same page is our live Computer America video streaming window. It's automatic. It'll just start automatically when you go there. That's right. Not only can you listen to the Computer America show, you can watch us. You can see our smiling faces, demonstrations, everything. On our live Computer America video page. All right? And you can see myself, you can see Ben, you can see our guest tonight. And we encourage you to do it. We go through a lot of effort to bring these things to you, and we hope that you'll take advantage of it. So, without further ado, anything you want to mention before I introduce our guest tonight, Ben?
No. Other than the fact that for having no guest to actually having a guest to that guest being about video games and entertainment, digital entertainment in general, what a wonderful surprise! Because we were supposed to have another Gamer Tuesday yesterday.
Yeah.
But we didn't get around to it, so
Well,
this is a pseudo Gamer Wednesday.
That's right. I guess it's better late than never. Now, our guest tonight is with Popzara magazine. Nathan Evans makes a number of appearances on our show, but Nathan was sick tonight, and but that's okay, because we've had this guest on before, as I mentioned, at the Consumer Electronics Show. Very knowledgeable guy. A lot of fun. His name is Josh Boykin, and Josh is actually an editor-at-large with Popzara magazine. So, Josh, welcome into Computer America. How the heck are you?
Oh, well, I'm not doing too bad. Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to talking about all sorts of crazy things, of course. But,
just make sure you're not sick, right?
No, not sick yet.
Okay, and you're not, and you're available, right?
For birthday parties. I mean, it depends. I can't get too crazy. I got a reputation to protect.
I see. Okay. Well, we can have a birthday party if you want.
I hear you may be able to go as Batman.
I do. I've got a hoodie, right? It's a Batman hoodie for those of you who are listening on the radio and can't see me holding up my hoodie. I don't mean to, reveal the secret identity, but it's too late now.
Well, so. You've already done that now.
Spoiler alert.
It's enough to fool the kids, so.
Well, there you go. Well, as I said to Josh, I said, look, what would you like to talk about? And we have all kinds of topics. Obviously, we're a computer and technology show, but Popzara obviously has a wide diversity of topics and subjects. One of the things that we did, Josh, is since this is February, it's officially a Do-It-Yourself Month, DIY, and we picked a number of topics to talk about over the past few weeks, and it kind of one of the things that we talked about yesterday was overclocking your graphics card and the do's and don'ts and the pluses and the minuses, and we sort of started to get into that. Which was interesting, and so why don't we? Unless Ben, you have some reason you don't want to do it, I thought let's get Josh's take on overclocking your graphics card. And
as long as he doesn't take your stance of why would you do that? That's just a bad idea. Because obviously I think it's a good idea. So yeah, as long as he agrees with me.
Because if you overclock something, you're overclocking something that wasn't designed to run faster than it really was. Granted, there's some headroom there, but the and you eat into that headroom, you could do some serious damage to your hardware. And so I said, why not just buy a graphics card that has more power rather than just trying to overclock the one that you have? Because by the time you're going to spend the money on a cooling system and all these things. Just get a card that's designed to run faster, and you can still remain safe. And Ben kind of turned his nose up on that and said, "No, you need to be." So I'm kind of, that's the both sides of the coin. So why don't you give us a little your thoughts on overclocking?
Well, I guess I feel like overclocking used to be pretty exclusive to enthusiasts, kind of the equivalent of, well, I've got I might have a sports car, or maybe I've just got like a GeoPrism, and I want it to move faster than what I would expect a GeoPrism to do. It seems like nowadays, there's almost an expectation that if you get a pretty quality video card, you're going to do some level of overclocking or tweaking for performance. Um, I mean, if you've got the budget for it, yeah, why not buy a more expensive video card? But there's always going to be that certain appeal to push the envelope. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
Uh,
pushing the envelope could fry your computer.
well, I guess I kind of feel like if you're gonna open Pandora's box, like just be ready for what's inside. So, I feel like Ben's opinion of Josh can say what he wants so long as he agrees with me. I mean, like we don't have to worry too much. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't overclock a video card because if I were to fry or melt my video card, I'd be super disappointed. But I'm also not the person willing to put in the legwork to do it safely. I'm sure that there's basically just like if somebody ships out some machine parts, you might only expect that you're gonna put 200 pounds of pressure on it. They're still gonna stress test it to 350 or 400 because
Yeah.
who knows? I kind of feel like that. I'm sure that they do the same thing with video cards.
Hmm.
I wouldn't go into it with the expectation that I'm going to overclock it. But if I've had it for a year and a half and I really want to run something on ultra settings, yeah, I might try it.
Like what I've noticed with my friends, myself, and things like that, uh, even if I have a certain graphics card or my friend has a certain graphics card, and even if it's the top of the line, best you can get, creme de la creme, you're still going to, or at least in my circle, you're still going to overclock it. It's not
See, that's
about
tech greed. That's tech greed.
exactly. It's not about reaching the next plateau with having a $400 graphics card and reaching the plateau of $700 graphics card. It's about whatever equipment you have. There's a way to do it safely if you do your research, and there is even software specialized to help you do it that you can get every little bit of juice out of it. It doesn't mean it doesn't guarantee it's gonna blow up. Your car may say, don't go over 100 miles an hour, but your car can go up to 160 and it won't blow up. But they recommend certain things, but they're just recommendations.
Hmm.
So,
Okay.
no, but what I was actually kind of surprised about hearing about last night is, Josh, I don't know if you seem pretty open to the idea. I hadn't previously heard of overclocking a graphics card. Processors, sure, all the time. Motherboards, sometimes. Graphics cards, not so much. Do you have any experience with this kind of thing,
I'll admit, I mean, like the last time that I got really into overclocking, I mean, we're talking about um, you know, Pentium insert number processor, which don't get me wrong, I mean, it was a good experience, but I'm a gaming enthusiast, but I'm completely fine with running things on standard spec settings. I do think that with the amount of power that's dedicated to a video card now, with dedicated RAM and like basically, yeah, let's make sure that we've got. I feel like I would design my rig around the ability to power the graphics card I wanted. It only makes sense that you're going to push the envelope there.
Hmm. So, you're saying that so you're saying you wouldn't do it, is what you're saying, Josh?
I'm saying I wouldn't do it. I'm also saying that I understand if somebody who knew what they were doing went ahead and did it.
Now, that's a real large caveat, though. Knew what they were doing. How many people out there, know what they're doing?
I'll be honest. I've overclocked. Again, it was just my processor, but I've overclocked my processor before, and you know me, I don't read instructions. Why would you? That's the lazy man way out. Why not put your 3.3 gigahertz processor and bump it up to 4 and see if it doesn't blow up?
Because when it does blow up, you don't get to tweet about it. Well, I mean, you have a cell phone, so you can tweet about it. But.
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't blow up right away. Like, I'm not trying to, hook up a car battery to it and say, let's see if we can get this thing to 5. Moderate increases, I feel like, really don't hurt it that much. Like, the worst that can happen, overheats, shuts down, wait for it to cool down, go in real quick and change the settings back. Like,
Wait.
it's not going to just blow up right away.
Well, you see, that's one of the nice things that, I mean, hardware manufacturers have learned the fact that there are people that are trying to overclock their processors, so they actually put in some, safety switches, safety mechanisms. So if it gets too hot, the thermal detectors and it shuts it down. And then as Ben says, well, okay, that was too fast, so he puts that and then knock it down to something.
Overclocking is safer than it has ever been. There used to be a time where it was like, okay, here are the settings. We don't recommend doing anything else to it. That's what it is. And then people would go in and just start changing voltages and stuff like that, and just go really experimental. Nowadays, there's software put in that helps you overclock just through the software, so you don't have to guess with the BIOS or anything like that. And there's safety measures built into the whole thing. Like if your processor gets too unstable, across too many cores, it just shuts itself down. It's like, oh, this ain't right either. There's a lot more safety put into it nowadays than there ever was, 5-10 years ago.
That's very, very true. Josh is squirming.
I guess I'm just saying, like, it's safer than it's ever been. I don't have a firm opinion. I just am saying, like, if I could think of other situations where I'm like, this is safer than it's ever been, like, I'd still be like, well, lighting that rocket in the house. Well, it's the safest it's ever been, but it's still a rocket in the house. So.
Okay. It's not just something you're going to say, all right, well, I gave it to my 7-year-old, and he said he was going to overclock it for me. Yeah, why not? Probably wouldn't do that. More hands-on approach. If you do your research, you'll be fine. It's kind of like owning a poison snake. It's really cool to do it, but it can go wrong very quickly.
I'll agree there.
I never tried to overclock a poisonous snake, though. So.
Yeah.
3.3 gigahertz rattling.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've kind of rehashed that one perfectly. But since this is Josh's first time on the show proper, yes, he was out. He was out with us at CES for a little bit, but first time proper. I actually never really got a chance to kind of quiz you and see what kind of gamer you are, because I have a pretty good grasp of what kind of gamer Grayson Hamilton is, who does our Gamer Tuesday, also from Popzara, and I'll be honest with you, he lacks the competitive edge that I look for in a gamer. Unfortunately, don't get me wrong, he enjoys his games. He knows plenty of the history and things like that. He plays it for the story and the fun. What do you play video games for?
Oh, that is a broad question.
Yeah.
So it's a couple of things. I will admit, Grayson and I are very similar in a lot of respects. I love RPGs. I love adventure games. I like anything with a quality story. I just went through and did the first chapter of Life is Strange, Square Enix's new adventure title that involves rewinding time and a whole bunch of stuff. Absolutely love it. I will say that a lot of times I can't get too into competitive gaming because it will absorb my existence. So even though Dota 2 has been out for insert number of years here, I just started playing it 2 weeks ago because I just couldn't resist anymore. I do enjoy, I love RPGs. First-person shooters are a big thing for me. Still playing a bit of Destiny. Just started with Evolve, which came out last week, and that's the new Left 4 Dead-ish 4 people versus monster shooter, and I'm having a lot of fun with that. But I also like card and board games too. I like to play a lot of co-op stuff. I like playing together with people.
Card and board games.
Yeah.
Really? Like Monopoly?
Now, admittedly, I did finish a book recently called Everything I Needed to Know About Business I Learned from Monopoly, which did not necessarily make me a better business owner, but did make me a better Monopoly player. But no, also, I like, playing, I played a lot of Risk back in the day, and then the dice rolls would make me frustrated. But even the kind of nerdy board games people play now, Ascension, I used to play Pokemon back in the day, Star Wars, that kind of thing. Pretty much if it's a game and it's got rules, I'll play it. I just can't guarantee I'll be very good at it.
How about the traditional stuff like chess?
Chess? Yeah, I like chess. I also I played a lot of Go back in high school. If you've played that.
Ben,
I think
Ben was a consummate chess player. He was a member of the chess team in school.
Yeah, and then our teacher stole all the money and skipped town. That was fun. But
how do you steal chess team money? Like that's
because we actually had there was a kid on our team named Aaron. He was a senior. It was the last year he was at our middle school. He was actually going to nationals. Like he beat everyone in the state, and he was going to nationals. And apparently the school gave him like $15,000, and he's like, you know what, whatever. Forget this kid. I'm just gonna take all the money. It was crazy, but that's neither here nor there. So you're more into games for some kind of story and/or like you're in it for the experience of the game, which is completely valid.
Yep. Yeah, but it sounds like you're a little more. Are you up for the like? I prove that I'm the best. Is that your niche?
I'm looking for another person that shares my my passion for. Maybe it started when I was going to the local arcade around town. Now I always try to go for number one on the leaderboard or something like that. And I've always been about the competitive edge of it. So League is my current favorite. World of Warcraft and their whole either I got really into World of Warcraft or I really didn't care too much about it. Like there was no middle ground. Like there's a lot of competitive play out there. Halo was another good one. It's just not many people apparently get into it because even though esports is up and coming, it seems like it's still a very closed community.
Josh, let me just tell you that Ben's email address used to be Ben Destroyer of Worlds. Okay.
Galactus got angry. And I will say I think that the issue with competitive gaming, right, is that you can't watch it and understand what's going on. So like theoretically, you could watch a chess match, you might feel kind of bored, but most people, or I should say a lot of people, know what's happening in chess. If I flip through ESPN and I'm watching football or basketball or something, or bowling, like I still know what's going on. Yeah. If even me playing Dota and LoL, if I switch to a stream of League of Legends or Dota 2, I have no clue what's going on, what anybody's talking about, what items people are buying, any of that. So it's like my drive to be competitive is just completely taken out by this super steep learning curve.
So you don't frequent what is this website that you're on? Twitch. You don't like to go to Twitch and watch other people playing?
I'll watch Twitch if I'll watch Twitch for like for information about games that like, and generally, like I said, I like to watch cooperative stuff. So like when Dragon Age Inquisition came out and they were demoing the multiplayer where you have 4 different players and they're each their own different class and they go through and fight through the dungeons and kill enemies and get loot and stuff like that. I enjoy watching that because I like hearing people interacting with each other. But when I watch like competitive League of Legends, there's an entire backstory about what the casters are talking about, where they're saying, oh, well, this person made this decision and got this kill and built up this amount of gold so we could get this item. Like, I just wish I had a dictionary the whole time I'm listening to it, and like a thesaurus.
Oh, it flashed in a minute. The burn spite throws all missed his Q, and he snacks the kill, going back, getting his.
Exactly. Like, I don't know if you've ever, if you watch like the old version, the old Japanese Iron Chef, right? That show where you have the 2 different people, and they'd have a big cooking showdown, and they'd have a apple battle, and everybody has to come up with whatever. So over the course of them deciding what they're going to make in their apple dishes, and the cameras are running around checking everybody out, you hear this little dude like not on camera, and he'd say "Shikuizan" or something like that, because I don't know Japanese. And then the announcer would stop, and the dude would fill in and say, he's using this specific tactic that's made of this vegetable that comes from this south of France, and blah, blah, blah. Like, I need somebody to do that when I'm listening to streams of those games, because I have no idea what they're talking about, and I want to feel intelligent. I think I'm an intelligent person, but it's hard for me to believe it when I'm watching those streams.
There's definitely a culture behind it, and football's been around for, I'm assuming, decades, maybe? I don't know.
I'm not sure. I think it's been at least 10 years.
At least 10 years, maybe even 2. In baseball, I understand that there's 2 teams, but like I get the only thing I would say to you don't get it is that it's just up and coming. League of Legends is maybe 5 years old at this point. Dota 2 just came out I think like 2 years ago. They're still relatively new in terms of sports, and really this is the first time in history we're kind of classifying video games as sports, as sporting events with coliseums and two teams and things like that. Before they were just video games, and you can have video game tournaments and things like that. But this is like the past 3 or 4 years is really the rise of esports.
Yeah,
Sure.
but who are those people who are watching this and understanding it? I mean,
Because video games do have especially League of Legends and Dota 2. Dota 2 just hit 1 million concurrent players, and they have, I want to say, about 4 or 5 million people who actually played it. And League of Legends has, I think, 10 million active users, and probably closer to 20 million who've actually played it before. That's their audience, is the 20 million people who've played it. You're not really going to understand, like Jeff said, just coming into it fresh. If you know nothing about the game and you watch it, you're going to say to yourself, what? No, I don't understand any of that. But the 20 million people, that's their audience.
Now, I will say though, in defense of traditional sports, people on the radio can't see me air quote, but I air quoted. In defense of traditional sports, like you have pauses or like repetition, right? So if I'm watching a basketball game, I might not understand completely, but I've got two different colors of jerseys. I've got ball goes down to one end, then ball goes down to the other end, then ball goes down to one end. And, I can eventually figure it out, right? But if you're watching Dota or League of Legends, you've got 10 different characters. They all look completely different. They just happen to be walking in one direction or the other, except when they're not. Like sometimes they're going through, there are 3 different lanes that they can be walking through. Mm-hmm. Or unless they're jungling, right? Unless they're just walking through random wherever. You've got explosions that show up in the middle of nowhere, and like it's super exciting to watch. It's hard to get that, oh, okay, so that's what the goal is. Because I really do feel like if they had, well, and maybe they do, at the beginning of a match where it's like, your goal is to take out the enemy towers. Like, people would be like, oh, well, I missed the first 5 minutes, and now it's my fault.
Josh, let me just say one thing, Josh. I'm so happy that you've said this because I have sat and watched Ben play World of Warcraft, and I'm watching and I'm seeing all these characters with not the same matching shirts, and they're doing it. They're going in different directions, and I'm watching and I'm trying to understand what it is they're doing. And and from my generation and then your generation, and to hear you say that makes me feel a lot better about myself.
No. We need to put Craig down. What are we doing? No, but
maybe we shouldn't have brought him on after all. Maybe we didn't need a guest.
He's supposed to be agreeing with me. You're my generation, kinda. No, but like it's also the kind of thing where if you watch cricket for the first time, I gotta be honest with you, I think people who watch cricket all the time don't even know what's going on in cricket. But you look at it, it's like, okay, well, the bowler just rolled the ball down to the pins, and then he kind of swatted it away by bending at the knees. Like, it seems easy, but once you actually get playing cricket and you see the difference between professional and just a person who plays occasionally, I think that's one of the things that drives people to esports and these big tournaments. I think last year there was like a $10 million prize for Counter-Strike, even. Not even League of Legends, but Counter-Strike, although that might have like a $7 million prize. Anyways, so... like,
what's $3 million between friends?
Yeah, so it was... like, you see his games, and that's why even though there's a smaller audience, there's probably a more... how do I say it? Like, there's probably a more active audience for that, because you can get on, you can download this game and you can play it just like the professionals you're seeing play. It's just when you see how you play and you see how the professionals play, you're like, wow, they were really good. At first, you don't know what's going on, but then you start seeing the skill, and then it's engaging at a whole new level.
I will say I went to BlizzCon 2010 out in Anaheim, and I was covering it for another outlet, and I watched the StarCraft 2 finals, and to watch these people like there are these stats up in the corner about the number of clicks per minute they're doing, and like to see them move around the map, like it was like watching a high-tech chess match because I knew that they were thinking about something. I just had no way of processing it, and I was like, "There's no way in the world I could manage all of this stuff simultaneously."
We'll be honest. We'll be honest with our audience. The StarCraft II Championship is essentially Koreans versus Koreans. So it's crazy how good they are, though. Like if you have all of your stereotypes out there, and we're not going to name them all because they're kind of racist, but if there's a stereotype in video gaming, Koreans have the best stereotype as being just amazing at esports.
They also have an entire like culture around esports. Like they have esport, like we have ESPN. South Korea has channels about like StarCraft 2 and stuff like that. Like I feel like I'm growing up and I saw like Nike commercials and like want to be like Mike or whatever, and then I turned out to be 5'10", so there wasn't anything I could do about that. If I were in a world where like I have StarCraft celebrities and LoL celebrities and I'm like watching them sell laundry detergent or something like that, I'd be like, oh, maybe I should give that a shot. I can sell laundry detergent. I'm a pleasant person. I could be skilled at this game. And maybe they're not even pleasant people. Maybe they're just skilled at the game.
And not only that, it doesn't take any physical prowess to do that as far as size or stature. Video games, you don't really. All you need is the fast twitch and the hand-eye coordinator, which practice you can start to develop. If you're going for a basketball team, obviously you can't stretch to 7 feet. That's never going to happen.
Wish I could.
Video games.
Well, there is the YouTube video of the 5'5" kid, dunking in basketball. Like, there's physical prowess in traditional sports, but in esports, it really is just how intelligent you are and how much you practice. Like,
you might be able to dunk as a 5'5" kid, but if like 6'7" or whatever, Kobe Bryant is standing above you, it doesn't matter. Like,
okay, fair enough.
All right. So where does this leave us? So we're talking about.
So we found out that apparently Grayson and Josh both have similar taste in video games. Unfortunately,
Kirby doesn't like to make toys.
Yeah. Hey, listen, we're at the bottom of the hour, and we're gonna take a break, and then we're gonna continue on. You're listening to the Computer America Show on the Blog Talk Radio Network, on the Boost Radio Network, the IRN Radio Network. Josh Boykin, editor-at-large with Popzara, is here with us for both hours. Right now, we're talking about games, and we'll continue talking about more. A News Tips Bulletin review from Marty Winston's coming up. You're listening to Computer America. We'll be right back.
Hey everyone, have you heard about the No hair removal device that's sweeping the globe? If you want to go weeks without shaving and get smooth, professional quality results, here's our favorite host Cheryl for No hair removal.
Thanks. Hey gals, I love talking about my No. It's this cute little hair removal system that you can take with you and use almost anywhere at home or on the road. No more expensive in-office treatments, painful waxing, and no more wasting your valuable time. Not unwanted facial hair? No has patented thermocon technology that works on all hair and skin colors, so it's perfect for using on all body parts. And now you can take advantage of this incredible risk-free trial. Get the No, the facial kit, a travel case, and a $100 discount shopping card, and you don't risk a penny to try it. Try the incredible No hair completely risk-free. Call 1-800-953-5415. That's 800-953-5415. 800-953-5415.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they're available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
Hey, has anybody told you that you're beautiful?
Hello, it's Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, the first alert, Bark Genie. If you have a dog in your workspace and uncontrolled barking is a repeated distraction, you understand why we got this in for review. The Bark Genie from First Alert is a mini Pavlov box that listens for barks and emits an ultrasonic beep when it hears one. With a 9-volt square battery for power, there's no outlet tether, and it's lightweight. Means it can go on a tabletop, a shelf, hang from a doorknob, or be wherever the barking tends to happen. A test mode responds with an audible beep. In its 3 operating modes, short, medium, and long range, the ultrasonic beep is something dogs can hear, but not you or me. Our test subject was a megalomaniacal male Jack Russell named Buddy, whose barking almost immediately calmed down, but was not deterred when responding to bark-appropriate stimuli, like people at the door. Bottom line, the First Alert Bark Genie could be worth a try if excess barking has been dogging your days. This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bullet Review for Computer America.
Dogging your belly.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. It's 13 minutes past the hour. That was Marty Winston with a something a little bit different than your regular News Bulletin review, but still cool product anyways. We have Josh Boykin here with us from Popzara, and we are really just kind of beating around the bush. I think we're going to dive into it now with video games, and you mentioned some of the ones that you're playing and some of the ones that you are playing right now. And one of the ones that kind of stood out was this new one, Evolve. So
Yeah.
you've had some time on it?
Yeah, I mean, just kind of a quick breakdown. So, Evolve is, imagine your favorite horror movie, right? Well, I guess maybe more of a thriller, and you've got your team of beaten down, technologically savvy heroes that are trying to hunt down and kill the monster. Maybe like Alien, except you're not running from the aliens, they're running to the alien. That's essentially Evolve. So you've got a team of 4 humans, each of which has a particular power or ability unique to them, and the team of 4 are trying to hunt down and kill the monster or secure some other objective. In the meantime, the monster is either trying to hunt down and kill them or secure objectives of their own. So it's a really big asymmetrical gameplay experience. Every player is going to have a particular role, a particular skill set, and it's going to be completely different from any of the other players in the game.
Now, is Evolve on a computer, or is it
Yep, it's on all current gen or next gen systems. So it's on PC, PS4, and Xbox One. I don't believe it's on PS3 and Xbox 360. I'm not sure.
I'll look that up.
Check that for me. Yeah.
Is it on a Mac?
I don't think it's on a Mac.
Okay.
There's actually one of the interesting things about Evolve are the number of different versions of the game you can purchase. Like there's the base, $60 game, but then you can get like the deluxe edition, the digital deluxe edition. One of the editions, which I believe is $100, is called the PC Monster Race edition, which is a gag at the PC Master Race, which comes with some special stuff. Each version of the game has a different set of, you come up with the base set of different human characters to play. So there are 4 different classes. Your medic, who's responsible for healing the team and keeping them alive. Your assault, who primarily does a bunch of damage to the monster. Your trapper, who helps you find the monster and then keeps it contained. And then the support character, who helps buff by providing bonus shields or securing some extra damage. You get 3 of each of those different classes, as well as 3 different monsters with the base edition, which is the one I've been playing.
Now, when you're exposed to a new game like this, and I know you're doing it probably because you love playing games, and also you're an editor at large, Popzara, so I assume your plan is to review this game for the publication.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a kind of a dual motivation there. If just let's just say for a moment you weren't writing for Popzara or something, and you were just like games, would this be something that you would pick up and try, or is the motivation probably no? I need to review this for Popzara.
So the cool thing about Evolve is that it's really good when you play it with friends, right? So you can have two, three of your buddies, and all four of you are playing as a team that's working together to hunt down the monster, who also is another human player. From that perspective, it's kind of fun. It's neat to go through, and like the maps are huge. It definitely has this sort of like horror or thriller movie-esque feeling to it, where you've got these dark forests you're wading through and stuff like that. So it's definitely something that's worth a shot, and something that I would try even if I weren't like.
Yeah, how does the monster? Because obviously, if there's a human playing the monster character, you should be able to win as the monster. How do you win if you are the monster?
You kill everybody else, I assume.
Well, yeah, there are a couple of different. So the monster, and yes, usually you can, if you kill everybody. The monster can usually win a couple of different ways. So either by killing all the humans, or by securing a second objective. The monster can go through and like hunt down different animals, different other creatures that are roaming around in the environment, and then like eat those monsters to get energy, and then stage up, which is basically evolving into a stronger form.
Now, I need to point something out. Now, I'm not the gamer. Ben is the consummate gamer.
Right.
But even I knew how the monster to win. Kill everybody, and the monster wins. I mean, how hard was that?
But you can't just have one objective, because that would make gameplay sterile and boring. Having variety in a video game is what makes it playable.
Well, and there are multiple gameplay modes, right? So in the hunt mode, basically the objective for the humans is either to hunt down and kill the monster, or to make the game last the whole, like, I believe it's a 20-minute time limit. There's a power generator that's on the map, and the monster has to either kill all the humans, or get up to level 3 and destroy the power generator. So if the monster's not playing aggressively enough, after 20 minutes the humans win by default. So, but I mean, it's also worth pointing out that like there's definitely this push and pull to it, right? So like when the monster stages up and gets like super strong, it'll just come in and just wreck shop, and you can just pound on people. And when the team isn't performing correctly, it's one of the things that's actually cool about Evolve, and also really frustrating. If you have one of your team members that isn't doing their job well, everything kind of falls apart, right? Like if you have your medic that's not healing people, well, then you're gonna die. If you have a trapper who's not keeping the monster in the right area, well, then the monster is going to escape and get its health back, and then it's going to come and kill you, and then you're going to die. People need to be doing their jobs well in order to be successful in Evolve. And I think, at least after the beta, I haven't seen any stats since the game's full release, but the balance was actually pretty even. I think it was like 52% of the matches that were played resulted in a human win. So it's a pretty big push and pull.
Yeah, because I can totally see where games like that, there would be a pretty... It'd be pretty easy to either overbalance one way or the other, especially when you have 4 people against 1. Either you're going to overcompensate and give the monster too much power, too many abilities, things like that, and you won't be able to do anything when it's a good player. Or you give the humans, it's just 4 people against 1, and it's just going to, cooperative play. It's just not going to win. So I really like the fact that there's there's some kind of balance.
Well,
is it friends in your friends list, or do they have some kind of matchmaking system?
They do have matchmaking. You can play with pretty much anybody. It's actually, you kind of touched on the idea that it can fall out of balance. It's one of the things I was playing with Corey, another writer for Popzara, and it was one of the things that we kind of experienced when you're in a party with another player. They won't let anybody in the party be the monster. Which I guess makes sense. You don't want to be running around and like trying to coordinate with the other humans, and then the monster's right there on mic, like, oh, well, if you guys are going over there, I guess I'm going to go over here. But the difficulty was that like we were getting put into matches where either our teammates wouldn't know what they were doing, or the monster wouldn't know what they were doing, right? And the game has some significant load times. So you might be loading for a minute and a half, 2 minutes, and then you get in match, and the monster's not that good, and you've played a minute and a half match, and you've got 2 more minutes of loading to do before you can get into the next match. Like, that gets real repetitive. I've been playing it pretty substantially since then, and as you rank up and get the matchmaking will bring you in with other players of a similar level because you get experience based on how you play each match.
I'm confused. I'm confused about something. You mentioned these load times. I thought one of the cool things about the PlayStation 4 is that there was no more load time on any of their games.
If somebody told you that, they're wrong. The load times might be better than other ones, but there's some significant loading times.
I heard this from Grayson.
No. You're confusing two different things. You're talking about there were no more waiting times when you download a video game. They have a system set in place where you choose a game, it starts downloading in the background, and you can start playing it almost immediately. That's not the same as a load time as you log onto servers and get matches and set up games. That's different.
Okay.
Yeah, but actually Evolve does do a little bit of that, where you download basically the base package of it, and then you can do quick matches while it's downloading the rest in the background. But that said, like you still have to download.
Fortress in the chat room wants to know if this game has nukes.
It has orbital strikes, so I mean, like they're not full nukes, but they exist.
Oh yeah, no, that's fair.
Missiles dropping from the sky do exist.
Okay. All right, so you're saying
if we're treating this like a full-on review, so did you run into any kind of bugs or glitches?
Okay, so glitches do exist, though fewer than I would have expected at launch. One of the things so imagine that you've got I'm trying to think of a hunting dog, like a bloodhound, right? So essentially you've got a bloodhound, it's called a trap jaw, and it goes through and it finds the monster. There were a couple of times where Corey and I were playing, and the trap jaw would just look like it was running through molasses. Like it would just be stuck in the air, just moving very slowly. And then eventually it would pick up and do it again. I don't know if that had to do with latency or what. A lot of times when I'm playing bot matches, I'll get stuck on other characters because the party is following me around, and then I'll try and turn to the right, and I'm like, why am I not moving? And it's because the character's right on my shoulder. But as far as actual gameplay, game-breaking glitches, haven't run into them a whole lot. I will say that the biggest drawback for Evolve really just comes in playing those first few matches, where if you get put in with people where the match, it's very easy for a match to end quickly and not feel exciting. It's kind of like, I don't know the wrestler because I didn't watch wrestling, but that know your role type deal, you need to know how to play your character. And it's kind of like if you're playing poker. If you play poker with 5 other people who know how to play poker, it can be a really in-depth, really engaged, exciting, tense game. But if only even one of you doesn't know what you're doing, you're just oh, well, I call, and everybody's oh, you must have something, and then you look and you're that was nothing. Why did you call? That one person's confusion can break the whole game. So
fair enough.
Well, that always stands to reason, though.
It's cooperative. It's a cooperative playing game, is what you're saying.
Yeah, that only stands to reason that if you have 4 other people playing with you, if you're playing a solo game like a Skyrim or Dragon Age Inquisition, what have you, if it's very much an RPG, one player, and the rest is all based on computer and the storyline, that the room for error there is going to be very small. But when you put more emphasis on there are actual people behind the other characters, you're putting more emphasis on that, and that means that sometimes they aren't good.
Right. Right. Now, let me say before we, because I'm that story emphasis person, one of the cool things about Evolve is that it does have a solo campaign mode, where it's not actually a full campaign story. You just basically play 5 multiplayer matches, but each of those matches has a different story background, and then the results of that match, whether the monster wins or the humans win, determines what side effects carry into the next mission. And the evacuation, it's called evacuation, and you can also do it in multiplayer.
Now,
So in the,
is that there for primarily to teach you how to play the game with other people, and it's just to learn? Is that what that's there for?
no, this is actually it's basically like a chained gameplay mode. So instead of doing just one quick match that you play through it and you're done, you play 5 matches, and then each of those matches, like consequences, carry over. So let's imagine in the first mission, there's a power generator, and they're calling you in because they want you to rescue the humans that are at this power generator, right? If the humans win, then the power generator gets saved, and then maybe everybody has stronger weapons in the next match. But if the monster wins, then there's this big explosion, and the explosion releases more monsters. So in the next match, the monster has friends to come and help it. So you got kind of this idea where, over the course of these 5 maps, the gameplay is actually affected based on whether or not you're winning or losing, which is kind of a neat effect.
And this is a new game. This is just that recently.
Yep, just came out I believe last Tuesday. And like I said, it's on current gen consoles, PS4, Xbox One. Did we find out if it's on 360, PS3? I don't think it is.
Only next gen consoles and the PC. So PS4, Xbox One, PC. That's it. Windows PC.
No
Windows
Mac.
PC, yes, no Mac. If you bought a Mac thinking it would be a gaming PC, or like PC, gaming PC, it's just naturally on the end of the word gaming. So.
Well, evidently most games out there, the ones the big titles, are just not available on the Mac platform.
Yeah. No? I mean, I think it used to be an architecture issue, and now that a lot of Macs run on
Intel,
Intel-based processors, like I think they can dual boot, and I think they'd be okay, but I'm not quite sure.
It's getting better, but let's just say that if you have a Mac, you're going to be waiting another 3-4 months for your game than everyone else, because it does take time to rewrite the game.
Okay.
If you want to play games, go get a PC.
Yep.
Or an Xbox One or a PlayStation.
Or a console, yes.
Okay. Here, let me just ask you this, and again, this is general, because we get the different opinions. In your opinion, are games better on a PC as opposed to a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One? Are games better or not?
That's the gauntlet question, isn't it? So I know it sounds ridiculous. It really depends. I like to play shooters on a PC because I like having a mouse, and I think I can be more precise with a mouse. If I'm playing something where I want to talk smack with friends, I'd rather do it on the couch next to them. I'd rather it be a console. Other than that, I mean, like PS4, Xbox One, they're becoming so similar to PCs, it almost doesn't matter. A lot of PC games are designed for the idea that you're going to be using an Xbox 360 controller plugged in with USB. That line is just getting super blurry. I will say that the thing that I like about consoles is I don't have to worry about overclocking my video card to be able to play the game.
Yeah, it is what it is. It's exactly. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, so where does that leave us now? So would you give all the thumbs up, thumbs down, or what kind of
Oh,
rate?
no, come on, Craig. Best out of 10.
Okay. Now, Popzara uses neither of those scales. We technically use a nay, yay, or editor's choice. If you're gonna box me into a numerical, I'm still in the process of review. But I would at least give it a thumbs up right now.
Okay. All right. So, what's it go for? How much is it going to sell for?
$60.
It's a $60 game.
Yep. Unless you get one of the other versions, the Digital Deluxe or the PC Monster Race or whatever, and those will come with additional monsters or additional skins for your characters. So imagine like you're buying a card game, right? Or like you're buying Monopoly, and then it's like, well, if you want to buy this version, you'll get some extra tokens, and maybe your board will be a little bigger. Or,
the collector's edition is what that type of thing. The director's cut or whatever.
Yeah, essentially, right. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So $60. But so how much more time do you have to play it before you can finally commit to the final review?
Well, I believe we're working between me and Corey to figure out who's going to actually push the review. It'll probably be, if not by this weekend, you'll be seeing it on Monday.
Okay. You can read it on popzara.com.
Over at popzara.com.
Exactly. All right. All right. So that's so much for Evolve and the games. Now, there are a number of other games out there too that we want to talk about. What else is hot, or are we looking for things that are around the corner? Do you want to talk about?
I kind of a topic that I wanted to bring up, and they made an announcement a little while ago, but I don't think they've gone through with it yet. But they're still planning on doing it. And Josh, I'd love your opinion on that because I forgot to bring it up with Grayson, and I'm eager to talk about it with anyone. Elder Scrolls Online, the one that I was banned from.
You got banned from Elder Scrolls Online?
Yeah.
Why were you banned from it?
Oh, I don't even want to get into that.
You can't say I got banned from Elder Scrolls Online and then not tell the story about how you got banned from Elder Scrolls Online.
Let's just say that there is a home in Nebraska I'm not allowed to visit. So, no, it's nothing bad. But Elder Scrolls Online is traditionally is one of those traditional MMORPGs where, think World of Warcraft, $6 to play, $15 a month. Turns out, just like Knights of the Old Republic, the Star Wars game, they are switching over to a free-to-play model.
Yeah.
I don't know if you had heard of that, Josh, or if you even followed like the whole MMORPG, the subscription model versus the microtransaction model, and I just kind of wanted your take on if you thought that would be a good thing for in this case.
So, I think when you start talking about free-to-play in general, pardon me, it's kind of one of the big issues with gaming as an industry right now, right? You got a lot of people who want to make games, you got a lot of people who want to play games, and there are tons of games to play at one time. So the question is, how does my company get money so that it can continue to make games? Now, when I throw down $60 to pick up a console game, I'm an enthusiast. I know what games I want to pick up basically before I go out and get them. I'm willing to pay $60. I know what I'm getting myself into. But Candy Crush made like $1.2 billion last year. That is not anything.
Soul, doesn't it? Hurts your soul.
But it's nothing to laugh at when you're talking about 99 cents at a time, right? Like, that's absolutely brilliant. I think that people are dedicated to World of Warcraft. People who've been playing it since, the only thing that World of Warcraft really had to fight against was EverQuest, which was like late 90s, early 2000s?
Yeah.
Early 2000s. So, those people who are dedicated to World of Warcraft are willing to pay $14.99 a month because it's the premier game. Everybody else has got to pick up with whatever they can, and I think that any time that they come up with a game, people always think, well, if I was going to pay $15, like, why wouldn't I pay $15 for World of Warcraft? Because that's what other, my friends are playing or whatever. I get that free-to-play has a bad reputation, particularly with what I would call hardcore gamers, right? Because nobody likes to be nickeled and dimed. We're already used to paying $50, $60 and getting a complete package, so it just kind of feels like, they're trying to draw every last cent out of us. But I do think that it makes it easier for companies to respond to the market when they can say, yep, I'm definitely not getting any money right now. I should do something about that. I think that Elder Scrolls Online moving to the free-to-play method just makes sense because, I wouldn't even try it at $15 a month, and that's not to say it's a bad game. I just already own Guild Wars. And Guild Wars 2 is, you pay once up front and then it's free forever. There's no subscription cost. There are just too many other options out there for comparative experiences that it's just too difficult.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. And while it's still free to play, there are certain companies that do free to play very, very well in that they aren't charging you for aspects of the game that are crucial to play. Like, you're not going to get to like level 23 and it's going to be like, oh, would you like to unlock the rest of the game?
Paywall. Yep.
There are paywall. There are some that put up paywalls left and right, and it just makes the game unplayable. And then there are some. My favorite by far is League of Legends. They have 10 million players because it's so easy to spend money, yet you don't have to spend a single cent on it. It's all for customization. It's all for special skins. It's all for aesthetic preferences. Nothing gameplay-wise, which is amazing. And there are games that do it well. Knights of the Old Republic, I think, does it really well. And so they're trying to go for the free-to-play. It could work, but really it's the dedication of, like, as soon as you take out the subscription model, you stop getting paid a regular paycheck every month. Now you have to pay. Now you have to find ways to actually engage your audience even more. And if they can do that, it couldn't survive. Like, I don't want Elder Scrolls Online, even though I don't play it. I don't want it to die. It's just there's some games that just are not suited for a subscription model.
Well, I mean, we do have to call free market here, right? I mean, the idea of I feel like right now we're lucky to be in a gaming surplus, right? Where gaming has crossed theoretically into the mainstream. There are a lot of game developers. There are a lot of people who want to make games. But there are a limited number of dollars for those developers to secure. There are going to be plenty of games out there that we love that aren't going to make it. Star Wars Galaxies was one from, what was that? Was that last year? Either last year or the year before that Star Wars Galaxies shut down. And there was a really devoted fan base who really cared about that. Champions Online, I want to say, shut down a few years back. And basically,
I was crushed when The Sims Online went down. Oh.
And everybody's gonna have that. Everybody's gonna have that little game that they care about that's gonna get the axe because, I mean, time moves on and so do gamers' preferences. But
hey, they're never gonna shut down Solitaire. So.
We can hope that.
Well, listen, we're
and Minesweeper.
Yeah, we're at the top of the hour, and we're going to take a little break. It's just going to be a short moment or two, and then we're going to be back for another hour of this. And it's a delightful episode with Josh Boykin here. We're talking about games, and also we're going to talk about using a home projector. You don't have to spend that thousands of dollars on the flat screen. Home projector. You can do some amazing things. But you're listening to the Computer America Show on the Boost Radio Network, on the Blog Talk Radio Network, the IRN Radio Network. We'll be right back with lots more right after this.
Broadcasting live, it's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@ComputerAmerica.com.
Hello and welcome into Hour 2 of the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. This is the Computer America Show, and I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And we're continuing on. We have Josh Boykin here. He's an editor-at-large with Popzara magazine. Delightful interview that we're having. And Josh is lending his insights into gaming, and we're going to continue on with that. I think, though, what we want to kind of just take a slight segue to is using a home projector. I know that I just came out with this article at Popzara, and it was one of the things that we had actually we're thinking about. We're here in the Crossman household. We're going to get a TV, but I had suggested, well, with the cost of projectors coming down, that you can really get this huge image up on a wall, and it doesn't require any kind of a special wall these days. I mean, you can still buy this paint that has a little reflective stuff in it to give you, but you don't need to do that, and you can get these really great images from a device that's very small that sits on a table. It doesn't even have to be a permanent fixture. give us a little, obviously you have this article here on Popzara about it, and the one that you just wrote about, you can see that at the Popzara magazine, and it's entitled, and this one you kind of reviewed this ViewSonic dual HDMI 1080p home entertainment projector audio video, and it's a review. And why don't you just give us a little bit of a gist of this product?
Sure. So we're talking about ViewSonic. They have it's the 7822 HDL model. It's a dual HDMI 1080p home projector. For those of you who, I mean, the last time that I really got familiar with a projector was sitting in either a lecture hall in college, or maybe in like the gym, a cafetorium, waiting for a presentation, right? So you're used to the super fuzzy, like, or maybe looking at slides. You need that kind of thing. Projectors have come a long way in a short time, apparently. Using this thing, it's got dual HDMI. You can plug in your Chromecast. It's got a powered USB, so you can plug in a Chromecast or Roku stick, any of those kinds of things. But it's a 3D ready projector. Does full 1080p crisp, clear visuals. I mean, just as well as if you were looking at a TV, except instead of it being a 40-inch TV, you might have a 80-inch wall that you're looking at.
Wow.
One of the benefits to this projector is that it's got a special short throw lens that also allows you. They also can edit kind of the zoom, so you don't have to mount it to the ceiling or set it 20 feet away to be able to get a quality projection. I had.
So when you say a short throw, explain what that actually means, because that is a critical thing in projectors today. What do you mean by a short throw lens?
So basically, it allows the projector to create a fairly large screen by spreading the light out without needing it to be very far back from the surface. I was able to. I think I had the projector maybe 7 feet from the wall, and was able to project it was probably a 70-inch across, diagonally across screen.
Oh.
It still looked exceptionally sharp.
Yeah, in the olden days, really. I mean, projectors used to be, they had to be like 20 feet, back, and to get an image, and usually you would mount.
They threw a pretty linear image.
Yeah, they did. And with the short, now is this a matter of optics that is this, or they're able to? You don't need to have the projector very far away from the wall, and yet you have this huge image projected.
I mean, and it has to do with the lens itself and the magnifications of the lens. Unfortunately, I mean, I don't know all how they specifically put it together. But it is it's a lot more effective than I would have given it credit for without seeing it in person. And I would say that the other thing that's nice about it is I'm used to having to either mount a projector or worrying about making sure that it's, and obviously you want to keep it well ventilated because it creates heat. But I, being a gamer, would do multiple hour-long sessions playing. I've played Evolve on it, any number of games, or I can't tell you how much more Netflix I've watched now that I have a projector. But it stays very stable. The picture stays crisp and clear. I wasn't able to test the 3D because I don't have a pair of powered 3D glasses, but I mean it holds up very well, works really efficiently, and we're talking about a sub $1,000 projector. I believe it's retails around $850.
$850. What's the maximum screen size? Again, in inches.
I've only personally tested it up to probably about, I would say I'm looking at the wall right now. For those who can't see me, I'm looking at the wall. Probably about 70, 80 inches, and it was perfectly fine. Let me see if I can pull up a
because if it's 70 inches, like even if it was just 70, you said 70 to 80. If it was just 70 inches, like I was just looking at TVs the other day, and really, as soon as you get past 65 inches, like you start hitting the $1,000 mark. It's like 65 starts at like $600-700, and then like you get to like 70 and 72 inch, and then you start hitting above 1,000. So with a projector, you're getting a larger picture size for less money.
What does the projector go for? Like this piece, how much does this sell for?
About $850.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And
well,
what?
I will say there are a couple other, almost the intangible benefits. Let's say that you have a 70-inch TV and then you're interested in moving. Yeah, and I'm sorry, I've misquoted it. The price of the projector is $789.99, so it's actually under $800.
Wow.
Um,
That's list.
Yeah, that's list price. It's just I've got a 40-inch TV and I drive a small car. So to put that thing in my car and then go somewhere takes some effort. The nice thing about the projector is that here we go. Just a couple of stats. 5 feet of distance can give you a 60-inch screen. So that's the benefit of that short throw lens. But it's exceptionally portable, lightweight, easy to set up.
What brightness, for example? I mean, how many lumens? I mean, how bright can the room be, or how dark do you need to have the room?
Sure.
For this.
We are talking a 3200 ANSI lumen brightness. It's got a 15,000 to 1 contrast ratio when running in its eco mode. A projector is going to use a bit more power than a TV, perhaps substantially so if you're used to using a smaller TV. It does have a special eco-friendly setting where it can automatically dim the projection so that you're so it's not using so much power. But I was able to use it. My room is fairly bright. I've got some windows. I would draw the curtains. But I could use it midday and still see a pretty decent picture cast on the wall. And that just comes from the natural brightness of the lens.
What are you casting on? I mean, is the wall just a standard wall?
Just an empty wall. Yeah, just a painted. It's painted sort of a. I really don't know what to call this color.
Off eggshell way and/or Navajo. We got you.
But it's not even a white wall. And I think you're used to.
On a white wall, then you can get better results, or they have that special paint that you can do, which is like a reflective.
Right, that sort of reflective paint.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you can improve it that way, so it's economical. It's easy to use.
Is there any sound associated with it? Because sometimes, especially with projectors, they get very hot because they have a very bright light bulb. Do you hear any kind of fan rev up, or is there any kind of ambient noise?
Okay. It's got. You can hear the fan. It's a tangible sound, but I wouldn't call it. I wouldn't say it interfered. Actually, when you bring up the idea of sound, that's probably the one drawback that I would call. With this projector, and it's not even necessarily a full drawback if you've got a solution to handle it. The projector does come with a 2-watt mono speaker. So if you are trying to do Netflix on the go, if you've got a presentation that you're running and it has sound effects, things like that, it's going to handle you in a pinch. The projector is really made or is marketed to be sort of an all-in-one family solution. With dual HDMI serial ports, or dual HDMI BGA serial ports for a laptop, and powered USB for like a Chromecast, Roku stick, something like that. It's really made to handle pretty much any situation you can throw at it. But with it mixing this, with all the sound coming out in mono, your movies aren't going to pack that surrounded feeling. Even if you plug a headset or an external speaker into the projector itself, it does kind of funnel down the sound quality a bit. Now that's something that's going to be easily worked around if you have a Bluetooth speaker to hook into, or if you're running your laptop in it and you plug any sort of other speakers into your laptop instead of the projector. That's an easily avoided situation. But just knowing that is also on the table is worth understanding.
Okay, and of course I know a lot of these projectors. Epson just came out with a series of home projectors. A lot of companies are coming out with them, and they are certainly taking off. I think technology also has a lot to do with it. They're still using these bulbs, but I know LEDs are becoming. We're getting some super bright LED technology. I'm not sure projectors are using them yet, but I would think in the near future the old-fashioned bulbs that these projectors have been using are going to go away because they have these incredibly super bright LED technologies that they can use. I don't know. Are you familiar with? Are any of these projectors using LED technology yet that you know of, Josh?
I haven't seen any that are using LED technology. I mean, I think it's definitely something worth looking into because not only are you going to get better life, but you're going to get much better efficiency, energy efficiency by using LEDs.
I mean, they've got some. Have you ever seen? Try looking at the headlight of a car that has LEDs on it.
It's just like turn off your brights. Like my brights aren't on.
Yeah. And the Kelvin, I mean, they're like 5,000 Kelvin, which is like ultra white. You know, I mean, the things they're doing with LED lighting today is phenomenal. So I'm quite surprised that the projectors aren't using LEDs. They're still using the old-fashioned, halogen bulbs or something.
Well, I mean, I do think they're going to be. I mean, the technology's already in use. They're going to be a little easier to replace. The bulb life, the lamp life on this particular projector, you're talking 5,000 hours, up to 8,000 hours if you're running it in its dynamic or eco mode. So.
Well, for the typical gamer, that's not much.
Right, I was going to say, so it'll last me about a week. Well, I will say it was kind of shocking. It gives you a stat to say how long you've run the lamp life, right? So like how long you've been running the bulb. And I'm cycling through the different menus trying to change the sound or whatever, and I see that it says, yeah, lamp has been on for 77 hours. And I was like, whoa. Wow. Maybe I should go to bed.
Now, typically, this is under $800, the ViewSonic, but as I said, there are more and more companies coming out with more quote-unquote home versions as opposed to the professional version that we're seeing, and they're with the short throw lenses, and I think it's only going to continue to grow. At least that's my opinion. I think there's definitely use for it. There's a place for it, and not necessarily portability is not necessarily the answer. Yes, it's a lot better than hauling around a big flat screen. That makes a lot of sense. But a lot of people are just starting to use this. It's sort of like telephones. Most people don't have landline phones anymore. They're just using cell phones. And that's becoming common. And I think we're going to see the same thing with the projectors. We're going to see more and more of them, especially as prices come down, and abilities like the ViewSonic with the multiple HDMI inputs, for Chromecasts and.
Well, up until just recently, it's really been cost prohibitive to get a projector because they were really expensive.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Everyone wanted them for their man caves, but they cost like $3,000, $4,000, maybe $5,000 for a decent one just a couple years ago.
Yeah, but I think there's a new market here, and I think we're going to see more and more home projectors. They're going to become much more affordable, and have a lot more power and a lot more features. And I think this ViewSonic certainly is on the cusp of that. Of that wave of new projectors, and as mentioned, Epson just came out with a line too. There are a lot of them that are coming up.
Yep.
Okay.
But you did mention, by the way, real quick, that that midday light sunlight did play into it, and that of course you have blinds, and most people do have blinds. But if you wanted to put it somewhere, let's say that doesn't have curtains or blinds, and just has an open window, that during daytimes, even with indirect light, just ambient sunlight, that's going to reduce the picture quality in some measurable way, right?
Well, I think that inevitably, I think that you will see projectors show up as a more consistent solution. They may not completely replace TVs, and in some situations they might do well. If you've got a basement and that's where you always watch your TV, it may make more sense to go ahead and pick up a projector. But I do think that with the costs coming down, maybe not every projector is going to be a 1080p 3D ready projector. You may see some $200, $300, $400 projectors that will run a 720 or a 1080p and be good for when you're watching Netflix, and you might just whip it out when you're hanging out with the family or want to watch the latest episode of. I'm trying to think what are shows that people watch right now.
House of Cards?
Yes, yes, which I'm waiting for. I thought that they were going to do it on the 14th again, like they released season 2, and then I loaded up my Netflix and found out that wasn't the case. That broke my heart, actually, Netflix. That was the worst Valentine's Day present ever.
You know, there's still some great. I mean, I got hooked into this. I don't know if you watched Cinemax, but the Banshee. I really like that.
Haven't heard about it.
Really good. But again, it's not out on Netflix. It's on. You just have to have a cable network or some sort. You know, it's like Cinemax. It's the one that produces.
Is it pretty good? I mean, was it?
It's really good. Yeah, it's very good. It's very dark, but it's very good.
Okay.
Anyhow, yeah, if you get a chance to see or watch an episode or two, I mean, they're all sequential. Obviously, one builds on the other, and I think it's in its 3rd season now that I'm watching it. I wouldn't have thought I would gotten involved with something like that but it's just it's well done. Anyhow, so that's pretty much for home projectors. Again, you give this another thumbs up, or
yeah. This one's a thumbs up. I'm an amateur audiophile. You won't see me spend thousands of dollars on audio equipment, but sound is important. So long as you've got quality headset that you can work with, the PS4, the Xbox One, you're probably playing with a headset anyway. But I do think the picture is absolutely fantastic. So yeah, I'd give this one a thumbs up too.
Okay, good. All right, now this next topic here you wanted to talk about is game length versus price. What is this all about?
Well, okay, so this is kind of an interesting question, and obviously any input is welcome. Games nowadays, you're talking about a full retail game is about $60. And a new game coming out by a company called Ready at Dawn for the PS4. It was basically meant to be like a big PS4 system seller. It's called The Order 1886. And it looks fairly similar to a Gears of War type experience. You play as this guy who's going through and sort of hunting werewolves and solving a mystery type deal. And I don't know the specifics about the plot. But one of the discussions that's come up is that there was a leak on YouTube where somebody showed the gameplay of the game and said that it basically, to play through the whole game, takes you about 5.5 hours. Generally, that might not be a big deal if you're playing through like a Call of Duty and you play through the single-player campaign, and it might take you 4 or 5 hours. And generally, people don't mind because there's a multiplayer component. So you go through and you have, there's still more to do after that 5 hours is done. The Order 1886 doesn't have multiplayer. So everybody's, this is starting to beg the question, well, if I paid $60 for it, is 5 hours enough? The game, now, I will say that from what I've seen, the game is absolutely gorgeous. They really did work hard to make it a very almost cinematic experience. It's very atmospheric. I mean, the character models look really lifelike. It's a very pretty game. And it's also worth pointing out that the game's not out yet. So even though there are people who are playing through it, reviewers are starting to get their hands on it, can't necessarily guarantee that it actually is just a 5-hour game. But it is starting to make people ask the question, like, how long should games be? How long does a game have to be okay for $60?
Wow, that's interesting. By the way, we have a question for you in the chat room, and we'll get back to Josh. Jonathan wants to know what brand of headset you're wearing.
I am using the HyperX Cloud gaming headset. It's Kingston branded. It is meant for, it can do PC. I use it for PS4 because it can do anything with a classic 3.5 millimeter audio jack. So,
does it have a microphone attached?
It does. It does have a boom mic attachment. I'm not using it right now for podcasting and stuff. I use a Blue Snowball for the microphone, but it does have a detachable mic. It would be right here.
Yeah, blue microphones make amazing mics. Ben actually has a blue microphone too. He's not using it now.
Yeah, but logistic reasons I'm not using it. I'm looking at it right now. It wants to be used. It's lovely, lovely. But
Does it have anything to do with why you got banned from Elder Scrolls Online?
no, actually. No, no.
Okay, well, Jonathan, you got your question answered. They look nice too.
I like them. Great sound quality. It's a stereo headset, so you're not going to get your 5.1 surround sound. But it's a $99 headset, and it's I actually prefer this headset and its comfort over a number of other more expensive headsets I've used.
And it looks like it's sound isolating too, so it keeps extreme noise from reaching you. Okay, all right. So getting back to the question, game length versus price, and you mentioned the Order 1886. You're saying it's cinematic, but it doesn't have the multiplayer aspect, and so after you play your 5.5 hour long single player mode. You basically have a doorstop. I mean, you can't play it again, right?
Now, I actually looked this up real quick. Apparently, the 5.5 was a speed run.
Now, the 5.5, they say that the reason why it could clock into more than 5.5, but might not be significantly more, is because the YouTube video cuts out a number of cutscenes. So even though it's played through fairly quickly, I mean, essentially, we could talk Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear Solid, you can do a speed run in 40-some minutes, right? But actually playing through the game could still take a number of hours. And I do think that's where the question is kind of begged, right? Is that, let's say that the game was 5.5 hours, right? I mean, the campaign for Advanced Warfare, Advanced Warfare was about that long. For me, I'm a campaign gamer, so if I get a quality campaign experience and then have some multiplayer, I'm okay with that. But I think a lot of people are concerned. Ready at Dawn hasn't come out with any sort of official statement, at least from what I've seen, saying this game is X number of hours long instead of. They said that it doesn't make any sense that you would be able to play through it in 5.5 hours. But they didn't say that, okay, well, in contrast, it's actually 15 hours.
There's so many...
Real quick, though, the CEO 2 days ago actually came out with a statement saying that what you saw was a speed run. I guess that would be because they cut out the cinematics and they're counting on you watching the cinematics. But the CEO actually came out and said the actual gameplay is closer to 8 to 9 hours. Which is not much better in my personal opinion, but that's what the CEO of the company said, 8 to 9 hours.
So, go ahead.
We have all this, we do these comparisons so many times with games and to the movies. We find so many valid comparisons. But I don't know if this would work, but I mean, when you can drop, you go to a movie, you bring a significant other and popcorn, you can blow about $30-$40 for a movie. And that movie's only going to be 2.5 hours, and that's it.
That's if you're lucky.
If you're lucky. So, I'm not sure if you get this really great experience, for the Order, and it's really great, and you blow $60. I mean, is it really that much of a lament? Are people expecting too much from games as far as the dollar to play ratio here?
Well, I think that the hard part is you can contrast a lot of the games that Ben's already talked about, like. Skyrim, Elder Scrolls are, any sort of these longer RPGs, or even the games like Grand Theft Auto or Lord of the Rings, Shadows of Mordor.
Yep.
Where you have games where it's like, okay, well, I'm also paying $60 for this experience, but I might get 30 hours, 40 hours, 60 hours. There are people, I've got friends who are still playing Skyrim, and it came out years ago. There's a general expectation when you walk into a movie theater that you've paid a certain amount of money, you're going to get a certain amount of time out of it. The range for what you can be expecting for a game varies so much that I think that's why it makes people inherently uncomfortable. If you already know what you're getting yourself into, and you know that it's going to be a you know it's going to be a 5-hour game, and that it's going to be fairly cinematic, and then you might not want to play it again. That starts to ask the question, well, then why not rent it, right? If you're going to pay $60, but you could walk up to a Redbox and pick it up for a weekend and send it back, and that ends up with questions of its own, because costs a whole lot of money to make a game like that, and if everybody decides to go and rent it, how do you continue to make more?
That's very true too.
But it's free market. Companies should be punished for putting something out that people don't want. And I can guarantee you, why go buy a $6 game with 5 hours of gameplay instead of playing one for free that gives you many, many more? Team Fortress 2, League of Legends, any of these free-to-play games that give you hundreds of hours of gameplay because of multiplayer, or even buying an old game, BioShock and the entire series, Borderlands, all these kind of games. They're older, cost maybe $10-15, give you 20, 30, 40 hours of gameplay, and then you come out with one that's $60 and expect people to buy it for 5 to 8 hours of gameplay?
Well, you're not gonna. I don't feel like you're going to be able to say, because you got two options then, right? You say either release a game that has a lower production cost, or release the game at a cheaper price. Now, I mean, you're going to be hard pressed to say, okay, funnel this much money as well as this many resources into a game that you now sell for $30. You're just not going to see that happen. I do think that's why you're seeing a lot more games that are episodic. Again, Square Enix's Life is Strange, broken up into multiple episodes, and it's a game that obviously has a very high production value. But you're gonna have to pick one or the other. I think that you could probably extend that game's life by giving it a quality multiplayer experience, by creating some positive DLC, which also is kind of a bad word for gamers, but by creating more content so that the story can expand. There are options to set a good base out there, but it's just got to be done well.
Well, so anyway, just be aware of the fact, Now, maybe they should list it on the packaging, saying, 5 hours of gameplay.
They're not going to do that. They're not required by law, and that's just not. That's one of the responsibilities of playing video games, is knowing what you're getting into before you spend money. Because at this point in the game, money is for video games is a scarce resource. So most of the people that I know actually go out and do their research beforehand, and I said, you know what you're getting before you even leave the house. You're not going to the store and perusing and saying, "Oh, I'll give that a try. I haven't heard of that before." Most people know what they want.
All right, you're listening to the Computer America Show on the on the Blog Talk Radio Network, on the Boost Radio Network, on the IRN Radio Network. We're talking to Editor-at-Large Josh Boykin from Popzara Magazine. We're discussing game length versus price. We got lots more coming up. Another half hour of the Computer America Show. Another News Tips Bulletin review from Marty Winston. Stay with us. Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. The mission is to protect and enhance the lives of companion animals and the people who love them. Their no-kill rescue shelter is open year-round, making it easy for people to adopt their best new friend. This year, Brother Wolf will find homes for over 2,400 orphan dogs, puppies, cats, and kittens. All have ended up as an orphan through no fault of their own. Brother Wolf has created a safe, nurturing environment where these special animals can heal emotionally and physically until they find a lifelong home. Their life-saving transport program brings dogs and puppies from overcrowded shelters in the south to rescues in the north where homes are easier to find. Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is a 501c3 organization. To learn more about their life-saving work and to make a donation, visit their website at www.bwar.org. That's www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number. 1-866-663-MyTV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So, disable the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-866-663-MyTV right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99 and up to 4 rooms. And there's no equipment to buy. That includes your free HD TV upgrade, your free DVR upgrade, and your free professional installation. And the best part, the pristine digital picture and sound. Call 1-866-663-MyTV. So, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-866-663-MyTV. 1-866-663-MyTV. Disable the cable, cut costs, and get more. Call 1-866-663-MyTV. 1-866-663-MyTV.
Oh, yeah, I'm here. This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, the Cherry DW3000 wireless desktop. Cherry is a generations-old high-quality brand for switches and microswitches, and from time to time, like now, for end-user PC keyboards. Their new DW3000 wireless desktop set has a stubby USB dongle as its wireless link, a very nimble 3-button laser mouse, and a full-size keyboard with so sensuous a feel that your fingertips may feel betrayed if you ever leave it. Alkaline cells in the keyboard and the mouse provide power. The mouse has an on-off switch to husband runtime. The keyboard has no such switch, which leads our inner engineer to believe that beneath the keycaps, discrete actual switches demand power from a spec underneath, we assume 3 milliamps, only as they're struck, rather than constantly scanning as in many other wireless keyboards. This is a luxury keyboard line, both in terms of pricing and in terms of performance and ride. Bottom line, the Cherry DW3000 wireless desktop keyboard, switch, and dongle combo will make your fingers strut. This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. We have Josh Boykin here with us, and we're talking all about games. And currently, we're having the discussion: video game price versus length, and that can be pretty heated. And right before the break, I kind of left off with saying that most people who are nowadays, since games are so expensive, especially new ones, most people know what they're getting before they leave the house. And I never like to leave off with the last word because it's not about me being right. It's about our guest and agreeing with me why I'm right.
Yeah,
I wanted to give Josh a chance.
Well, this all came about because I said, well, maybe on the packaging they have the rating. Maybe they should have the game length. About 5 hours or 30 hours. Put the game length. And Ben said, no, they're not going to do that because they don't have to. That means they're only going to do the things they have to.
Well, I mean, I do have to say, maybe I'm a little biased as a game journalist and reviewer. I kind of want there to be a reason for people to come and find my work. So, some might say, oh, well, if you're really concerned about game length or finding out information about a game before you buy it, maybe you should go to popzara.com and read some reviews. No, realistically, I think the other difference is that you're going to get different amounts of gameplay or game time based on the gamer. I like to go around and explore things and play through things kind of slowly. Other people are naturally going to go into a speed run because they want to clear it as quickly as they can because maybe they want to play it again on a harder difficulty, or maybe some people just aren't as good at games and a 5 to 8 hour game may actually take them 10 hours or any number of things. I think the other thing that is difficult is there's kind of the assumption that a 5 to 8 hour game, you're like, oh, I'll play through that in a weekend. As I've gotten older, I find that my gameplay sessions get shorter and shorter. So, where it used to be I need a 10 or a 20 hour game for this to feel worthwhile. Well, if I've only got a couple hours to play at a time when I'm, playing something I'm not reviewing, a game that's only 5 to 8 hours might take me a couple weeks, and I might be fine with that. That's all information that's just kind of up to whoever it is that's making the purchase. It's just sort of a question of, is there an assumption that there is enough content? And that's going to be up to the individual.
Yeah, I guess. But you make a good point, because you can go to a website like Popzara and read a review of a game or the games before you purchase them. Because once you buy them, that's it. You can't really bring a game back, can you?
Yeah, I mean, you can trade it in at a retailer for a fraction of the price that you paid.
Yeah. Yep. Once you break.
Yeah, it's mainly frowned upon. You can't really return a game, 2 days later and saying, "Oh, this wasn't as fun as I thought
I
it'd be."
didn't like it.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
they'll look at you and
$60
they'll
back.
say, have you tried buying one of our other $60 games? That one you just opened.
Yeah, you can't really do that once you break the seal.
Yep.
It's worse than a new car. I mean, you drive it up a lot, it depreciates, but
Yeah, about just that. There was a game recently that actually banned journalists from like the only way they get an early copy and do reviews on it was if they signed a non-disclosure agreement where they weren't allowed to put out a review before the game actually launched.
Yeah, that was I think that was Assassin's Creed Unity.
Yeah.
And the issue with Unity was actually that the embargo date stretched past the game's release. So it's fairly typical that, or I shouldn't say fairly typical, but in a lot of cases you'll see games where they will say, okay, we'll give you this review code, and you can't publish the review until midnight of when the game comes out, which is kind of up to the publisher. But the part that like made everybody super nervous about Unity was that they said that, okay, well, you can't actually publish a review until 9 a.m. of the day that it comes out. Well, Assassin's Creed is a giant franchise, and everybody has name recognition, and different game shops are having midnight releases. So since the game turned out to be kind of broken, people kind of kicked around the idea that the reason why they had that particular embargo time was that they knew the game was broken, and they knew that if reviewers released reviews at midnight, then people would not buy the game at midnight because they were able to find out that it wasn't that good. So it's kind of a blurry line because there are so many what ifs. Like, did the company actually know that the game was busted and base the embargo? Well, actually, that's really just the big what if. Did the company know that the game was broken and then decide to change the embargo time to make sure they could make sales? Because that would be kind of dirty pool.
That would be kind of slimy, yes, on their part. Yeah, exactly.
Ubisoft is not winning a lot of PR battles right now.
Yeah, but that's the exception to the rule. Usually that's not the case. I mean, the point is, so the consensus, you just need to do your research before you buy a game, or talk to friends, and who are into gaming, and get some feedback that way.
Whoa, you need friends now? Ooh.
For gaming, it's like I started gaming because I didn't have any friends.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, it's okay. I got two more now. Now that I've got the Computer America show, and I got two more friends.
There you go. That's right.
Grand total of 3. Hi, Nathan. Hi, Nathan.
And Nathan. Yeah. I'm sure he's watching. Sorry to hear that he wasn't feeling well, and he told me he's so rarely not well, but when he does get sick, he evidently goes for it big time. So he barely talked when I spoke to him.
Oh.
Yeah, he wouldn't even answer the phone, which is unusual because I can always get Nathan on the cell phone, and when he didn't answer, I said, "Oh, something's wrong. Something's not right." So, and I was right. Yeah, exactly. So. Now, one of the things that we like to do with Nathan is movie reviews. And Nathan, I know, is a consummate movie buff. I don't know if are you really into movies that much? I'm just kind of curious.
I'll watch them. I'm not. I already told you though. The one movie that I'm interested in watching anytime soon is not. It's not one that I'm super proud of. It's Hot Tub Time Machine 2.
Oh no!
Now I was gonna say the first one is shockingly good. Hot Tub Time Machine and 21 Jump Street were two movies that I walked into expecting to be thoroughly disappointed, and then ended up pretty surprised. So
Channing Tatum. I mean, now there is this one that's coming out about a time machine though. It's that supposedly looks interesting. What is it? Something. Um,
Is it a comedy?
no, it's not a comedy. It's serious.
Well,
Jupiter, was it the...
not Jupiter Ascending.
No. I'll think of it in a minute. But the point is, it's coming out in March. It's supposed to be about time travel.
Oh wait, is it the one where the college kids like
Yes.
schmuck everything up?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
What's that, like Resonance or something like that, or?
Uh,
I think I saw previews for that.
yeah,
Yeah, that looks weird. And then I was like, well, no, that's just predictable. It's
well,
you miss the time travel, you're gonna mess everything up. Have you not seen any cartoon ever? It's
you
hard
know,
written.
it's in the spirit of where the handheld videos where everything's kind of shaky and moving around. That just like Chronos, not Chronos.
Project Almanac.
That's it. Project Almanac. That's it. Yeah, exactly. So that's the only one I know that's coming out with about time travel.
But that has nothing to do with Hot Tub Time Machine or Hot Tub Time Machine 2.
They do travel through time, right? That's exactly.
With the assistance of like Chevy Chase, I think.
Probably, and probably a significant amount of alcohol, but
Mhm.
I don't know. I mean, I will admit I like time travel movies. I like the idea of, and more so than like the kind of predictable butterfly effect. Oh no, we went back and we changed things and like.
Well, yeah, that was actually sort of dark movie with what's his face
Ashton Kutcher, very different than Dude, Where's My Car?
Yeah, it was a very different role from it. It was a very serious role, and it was a very dark movie. But some of the classics is the Time Machine with H.G. Wells. And then they redid it. They did I think in the '90s. So they redid the movie. It was actually pretty good, but time travel, it gets messy. It plays with your head, as they say. So
I think the ultimate time travel movie is going to come out in 2017, and then simultaneously it's going to come out in 1997. That would be the best movie.
Back to the Future still is one of the best time travel. I enjoyed Back to the Future.
Aren't they remaking that?
I hope not.
No, that was a classic. Why would you want to remake that?
I think they're remaking it.
They better not.
No. Well, maybe they
will go back in time and prevent it from happening.
I gotta get back in time.
Yeah, it says that they're making a remake in 2016.
They're making a remake of everything. I don't know why they're doing that.
Are we out of ideas? Is that what happened?
It could be.
You would not be the first person to say Hollywood is out of ideas. That's a very popular sentiment.
Yeah. Though some of them really do require remakes, but or some of them just should be buried and never be brought back again. But but there are some movies that they did some remakes that were actually pretty good, but they're few and far between. You need to stay away. Yeah, is that?
But wait. Did we just skip over Hot Tub Time Machine 2, or did we just review it that quickly?
Oh, what, you want to review it? Go ahead.
Oh, it's not out.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, talk about it. You're excited about. Why are you excited about it? Is it the cast? Is it the premise? Have you seen any kind of sneak preview of it? Like, what makes you excited for this movie? Is it just the hype from the last one?
So there is no John Cusack. So I will admit I'm a little concerned. I mean, like I'm not devoted to John Cusack, but he was he was a pivotal character in the first one. I do really like Craig Robinson. I like that they've brought back so much of the original cast, kind of the original humor core of the cast. I also think that it's kind of interesting because it looks like it's just willing to have fun and make fun of itself, right? So, you've got Craig Robinson covering a Jewel song because he knows it's going to be a hit and he has access to that kind of thing. So he's like, singing, "You'll say I only hear what I want to." Yeah, I think that's Jewel. I shouldn't admit that I think that's Jewel. I just lost so many nerd points. But I was born in 1987, so I can't help that. Anyway, so I think it'll just be one of those movies that you can go to, you can have a good time. Hopefully the plot is decent, but I think there's just going to be a lot of entertaining jokes for folks who grew up in the early 90s, that 80s 90s section right there. It's just going to be full of stuff that is pretty entertaining, like the first one was for people who grew up in the 70s and 80s.
What about they're coming out with a new Terminator movie? It's a reboot. It's not necessarily a reboot, but it's they're saying that everything has changed now, and that looks interesting.
More time travel.
More on time travel. Really. I don't know.
Did you see the last one? What was the name of the last Terminator movie?
Yeah, that was with the last Batman. What was his name? Christian Bale.
Christian Bale.
Yeah, exactly. But Schwarzenegger's going to be in it again. He's coming back and he's reprising the role, albeit a little older Terminator, but he's still coming back as the Terminator. And I understand this time he's the good guy in this. Although he was a good guy in the other one that James Cameron did, the revamp, the Terminator 2. I thought 2 was pretty darn good. I think it was one of the best ones that they actually did. So James Cameron, he's a talented director. I mean, everything he touches is just, for the most part, is really amazing. But anyway,
he's got a good touch with sci-fi. I mean, I will admit that Avatar does kind of feel like 3D Pocahontas, but
I liked Avatar, and I'm not ashamed of saying it. I watched that I don't know how many times.
You can enjoy it, Craig, but you also have to admit, not just to the audience, but to yourself, that is a well played out story through multiple movies. Nothing groundbreaking except for the visuals.
Yes, that's very true, and the story was pretty much, it had been told before.
It was Dances with Wolves with blue people. That's all it was.
Yeah. What was it, Shakespeare? How many plots were there done, and that's it, and and then there's no more,
I do still remember seeing the little floating bubble at the beginning of Avatar, and I was just like, I'm in the future. So that was worth the cost of admission.
And they are going to be doing another Avatar. They're going to be doing Avatar 2. They have said that they're going to be coming out with a sequel. I don't know what they're going to do.
Send it straight to video, like Pocahontas 2.
Yeah. Fort is in the chat room, says go back in time and buy parts at Radio Shack. Okay.
Hey, Radio Shack didn't go away. They're just downsizing. They're still here.
They are still. They need to change the name, though, I guess, or maybe it's the name that gives them the value. I mean, maybe they should call it Computer Shack now.
No. They're sticking with Radio Shack. It's just they're going to be one quarter dominated. They're kind of like a business with a bad heart, and so Sprint gave them a new artificial heart, but it just says Sprint on it. So one quarter of the floor space will be devoted to Sprint and all of the Radio Shacks that are going to survive.
Which means that all the things will be cheap, and you can only use them in 5 parts of the United States.
and only in Sprint stores. Yes, exactly.
Nationwide coverage if you live in 5 parts of the United States.
Yeah. So what's the next story you're going to be working on, Josh? What's coming up?
All right. So right now I am reviewing a game called Hand of Fate. It was actually a Kickstarter project, so it was a crowdfunded game. Which is sort of it's a hybrid card game, adventure game, and action game. So you are, kind of crazy. You're sitting at the table and you're essentially you're playing a card game where you build a deck of cards that have different events and different weapons and items. And then imagine that you're playing sort of a little mini game of Dungeons and Dragons. So as you walk around on the map, it reveals new cards. Which have different effects. So they all have different storylines and different things that you're uncovering. But when you actually get into combat, instead of it being a card game, it turns into a full-on action game, kind of like Batman Arkham Asylum or Arkham City. It's got this full-on 3D action combat thing, and you customize your weapons and things. It's a pretty neat game.
Are they
familiar with it?
Is it like movies? Are they running out of things for entertainment? They're combining.
What are you talking about? I've never heard of that premise before. They're experimenting, not running out of ideas.
And to be fair, I mean, Earth, Fire, Wind, Water, and Heart were all good on their own. But when their powers combined, they were Captain Planet.
Exactly.
And he's a hero. So
He does bring the bad guys down to 0. So
yeah, I'm gonna stop doing the theme song now, but yeah. So I mean, it really is an interesting premise. What makes the game entertaining so far is that what it does very well. It's got a ton of atmosphere. Feels kind of like you're in a creepy basement, learning more about this this ancient guy who's like been around forever. And the voice acting is done really well. The music's great. Graphics are good. Combat, in my opinion, right now is a little easy. But that also means that it'll be approachable for people who are looking for a more, a more story-focused, atmospheric experience. But you'll see that review coming from me in a couple days.
Did you see, again, from my generation, the adventure game that I wasn't huge in games, but there was a game called Myst that I absolutely loved. Myst, all right, and then they came out with later versions like Myst 3D, but the original game of Myst, which was it left a lot to your imagination. I really enjoyed it. Have you ever played Myst?
I have. Myst is one of the most frustrating experiences I've had in gaming. I would click on things and I was like, why isn't anything happening? And like the cool thing about Myst is, that discovery, and like you start off on the little bridge and then you click on this, I'll tell you a game that they just came out with recently, if you're up for Myst, Grim Fandango Remastered. It's a game made in that similar adventure spirit. You play as a guy named Manny Calavera who is stuck in limbo. It's very much grounded in the like Mexican Day of the Dead tradition. But it's also juxtaposed with this like 1920s Art Deco thing. So everybody looks like the kind of skull and bones type deal, but it's also very stylized, and you're essentially like a travel salesman trying to sell people tickets to the afterlife. It's got that very point and click atmosphere to it. He's trying to find this like one ticket that he messed up so that he can make his way to the afterlife as well and be out of limbo. It does have that very strong explorative nature to it, and the hint system isn't very good. So, so if you want to go through and really try and find things out like you do in Myst, it's a really good game. But it also has great visuals, awesome voice acting, some of the best writing I've played in a game. I laughed out loud tons of times. So.
Yeah. Well, it pleases me that you actually played Myst. You knew what Myst was.
And it hurts me that there are so many great puzzle games out there. And puzzle games are not a dying breed. They're coming out with great ones all the time. But the last one you played, Craig, do you know when Myst came out?
I played it on Windows 3.1.
Yeah, was
even you, Josh, both of you, yes. When did Myst come out?
Was it 84, 83, maybe?
What?
I'd give it 90s. I'd give it some mid 90s.
93.
93. Okay, 93.
Craig,
yes.
Update your repertoire.
Yeah, but then they came up with Myst 3D, and then they added animation in it, and I said, no, just leave it the way it is.
Yeah, exactly. Leave it the way it is. Quit touching Myst. Go play Portal. Just do something else.
Portal looks like a lot of fun, and I have not played it, but it does look like fun. And they have Portal 2, and they have how many versions of Portal do they have now?
Portal 2.
Just the 2, because Valve does not do 3s. That wasn't original material. I'll admit it. But Half-Life 3, you don't see it. Team Fortress 3, you don't see it. Portal 3, you don't see it. It's frustrating.
It was just Portal and Portal 2. That was the 2.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
So far.
And do you recommend that you still recommend those games? They're good?
Oh, hands down. Portal and Portal 2 are, basically the reason why puzzle games exist the way they do today are in no small part due to the success of Portal and Portal 2. They're challenging, but they're also very approachable, and they're kind of funny, you know? So it's the kind of game where even if you're not a gamer, somebody can hand you a controller and say, hey, give this a shot, and you'll genuinely enjoy it.
Jonathan in the chat room wants to know how many sequels are in the Elder Scrolls line.
It was like Elder Scrolls Arena, I think it was Elder Scrolls Arena, and then it was Elder Scrolls 2, 3, Morrowind, 4, Oblivion, 5, Skyrim, Elder Scrolls Online, if you count that, and there are countless of other like little mini games that they kind of released in the same universe. So that's like at least 5.
And then Star Fortress wants to know how many Final Fantasies are there, and then he wants to know if they're so final, why are there so many?
Are they coming up on 15 soon?
Well, I mean, 15 in official like mainline canon. There are tons of spin-offs. There are, Mystic Quest, and
I'll be honest. I never played Final Fantasy. Like the first one I jumped into was Final
I
Fantasy
just got my
13.
serious phase on.
Yeah, I know. Final Fantasy 13, I think, with lightning and all that kind of thing. It was my first time playing, and it came on 4 DVDs. Like not just it came on 4. I couldn't even make it
Welcome
through
to the
first one.
Xbox.
Yeah, for the Xbox because it was so full of cinematics. I was like, quit cutting every 2 seconds. I want to play the game, and then the gameplay was kind of mediocre. Like there has to be a better Final Fantasy out there.
I just saw the movie and that was it.
Let's not talk about that.
Well, listen, we're just about out of time here. Editor-at-Large Josh Boykin with Popzara magazine. This was a lot of fun, and definitely we'll have to have you back on the show. And not just when we have a last-minute change, but certainly get you back on the program. We'll let Nate Evans know that you did a terrific job, if he's not already listening to the show. And I want to thank you so much for being with us here. I would ask you to stay with us because after the show we have a little bit of an after-show thing that we do on our live video stream, so just stay with us to the end.
Sure.
Okay. And
well, thanks for having me.
And we will, again, check out his latest article on the reviews on ViewSonic, Projector, and your upcoming article is going to be on what game again is it? What is it?
On Hand of Fate. It's for the PS4, PC, and maybe Xbox One, but I'm not sure. And also, you'll see some content on Evolve, too.
On Evolve, too. All right. All right. Well, again, thanks for being with us here on Computer America. And again, check it out at popzara.com. And, of course, you can see Popzara at computeramerica.com. We just have links to all of our friends of the show and Popzara.
Is Josh up there yet?
I don't know.
Josh, you do one more show with us, and we'll promote you to friend of the show.
Hooray!
All right, we'll definitely. All right, so coming up tomorrow night, we're going to have it's our All Linux show with Marcel Gagne, the man with a glass of wine, and he joins us for both hours. It's all about Linux, and more Linux. If you're interested in Linux, we do this once a month. It's the third Thursday of every month is devoted to the subject of Linux, and Marcel is the guy. I mean, he knows all about Linux.
60 seconds.
If you have any questions about Linux, this is the place for you to be. So again, Marcel Gagne going to be with us here for 2 hours. Intel is going to be back with us on the 26th of this month. That's the next Thursday, not this one, but a week from next Thursday. They'll be on the first hour of the show, and we look forward to having them here on the program with us. That wraps it up. Thanks again to Josh Boykin, editor-at-large of Popzara magazine. Thank you all for being with us on tonight's Computer America show. And we will see you tomorrow night. So until tomorrow night, this is Craig Crossman hoping that your hard disk never becomes floppy. See you tomorrow night.
And thank you, Ben, for joining us. You were wonderful, amazing. Oh my God, I love you. No problem, Craig.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Okay, there you go. You see, he laughed. He never heard the close of the show before, Ben.
Yeah, because he actually knows what a floppy drive is. That's a dying breed.
Uh-huh. Well, it's catchy. Hey, everybody, thanks for watching us on the live Computer America video stream. And, again, we'll see you tomorrow night with Marcel Gagne on our All Linux show. Thanks for being with us here. Say goodnight, Ben.
Oh, good night, Ben.
Bye. Bye, Josh.
See you later.